Greetings, aloha, ilakesh, and aloha. It's amazing how communication comes, these thought currents, and my mind was turned to a song by the Human League from the 1980s called "These Are the Things That Dreams Are Made Of." It is a message, and I have interpreted it, and I've changed two of the lines so they make more sense. So the song goes, "Take time to see the wonders of the world, to see those things you've only ever heard of. Dream life the way you think it ought to be. See things you thought you'd never ever see." That is guiding you in the same way that Neville Goddard talks about when you dare to presume, you create in the imagination. And you feel it, you remember it, you remember the future, what you create in your mind. So now, the second verse. The ego in this shadow world replies with suggestions. Take a cruise to China or a train to Spain. Go round the world again and again. Which, unconsciously, you will. You just keep going round and round again in this innate nature state, if you choose to. Back to the song. Meet a boy on a boat or a girl on a train and fall in love without the pain. It's an ideal that we all look for in a romanticised style of writing it in this song. So the next, I suppose you could say it's the chorus. Everybody needs love and adventure. Everybody needs cash to spend. Everybody needs love and affection. Everybody needs 2 or 3 friends. Well, let's just think about this. Everybody needs love and adventure. This realm is an experience. Everybody needs cash to spend. Spend it wisely. Spend it on nice things, on helping each other. Everybody needs love and affection, especially the ego. It needs to be loved and nurtured. It's a scared little child inside each and every one of us that cries out. Everybody needs 2 or 3 friends. Well, this can be allegorical because it is all within. So who are the 2 or 3 friends? Again, it is Neville that explains it. With the birth from above, you see your only son, and his name is David, and he sees you and calls you Father. It is the power of God, is the power, the Christ consciousness that rises up. Back to the song. These are the things, these are the things, these are the things that dreams are made of. That is the answer. It is your imagination. Where you live the dream, you create it in thought. Now the next verse is very telling indeed, and it is allegorical, and it is very clever the way it is written. Take a lift to the top of the Empire State. Now, it's not the building, it's the Empire State, the state of mind when you see things at their highest level. Take a drive across the Golden Gate. Well, that's the Christ consciousness rising up inside you. The Golden Gate, the gateway to life, when life really begins. Not this illusory world where they tell you that death is final. The physical vessel is part of this natural innate state. That is not you, that is the vessel. So the next line of the song, march, march, march across Red Square. Well, think of March. Think of when we're in spring, when the sun is rising. It crosses the equinox. The Red Square is an allegory to a red carpet, a sea of blood. And the final line of that verse, do all those things you've never dared. Dare you to use your imagination to create what you want, create the world that you want from your imagination. Feel it, remember the future, remember yourself. Re is Ray, don't forget that. So the verse that I've now changed it, but what of the Christ, the birth from above, the things you never thought of? Because it is there to be found. It is the ultimate answer. Because think of it like the Snakes and Ladders board game. You can be on that board game. You can be moving one square at a time, or with the luck of the dice, you may go several squares. You can take your chances on the ladders and the snakes and go the long way to get to 100. But if you see it from a higher perspective and look down on that board and see it for what it is and see that this game is a game of life. Life is a game. What is being portrayed in the shadow world is a joke. We turn to and think of spelling, the spells of words. Because what is a joke? The J is the hook. It should actually be a Y. It should be a yoke. And again, this is something Neville Goddard talks about. The yoke is allegorical. It's a metaphor. Because what do you yoke? Oxen in pairs to pull carts. So what that is saying to you, the yoke, when you see the joke and find the yoke, is the Christ within you is beside you. It is with you. Wherever you go, this will now go when you have that Christ consciousness rise, what they call the Kundalini rising. You then are on that path where you are going to be one. Because the Son calls you Father. It is only the Son that calls you Father, because the Son recognises that you are the Father. The meaning of life is 42, don't forget. Let's give you some core mathematics, and I'm talking about the core of this, not this nonsense they're giving to children that talk about go the long way round. So core mathematics, it's 6 crossed, or 7 crossed by 6, which equals 42. 4 and 2 is 6. It's that gateway, that 7th chakra. That's why the meaning of life is 42. It is the fulfillment of scripture to find that 7th heaven, that crown chakra, when they're all opened. It tells you also in the Bible to go forth and multiply. Again, this is within. The petals of the chakras, the 6 within inside your body, come to 144. Now the multiplication the multiply is when that seventh chakra opens and it's times at 1,000. There's your 144,000. Back to the song, which then ends as a lament. The ego is still suggesting things. New York, ice cream, TV, travel, good times, Norman wisdom, Johnny, Joey, Dee Dee, good times. Well, in the material world, but that's not the everlasting wealth. So the song ends as a lament of these are the things that dreams are made of. But they're not really dreams, are they, when they're like that, when they're just in the material world? When there is something better, something far greater. When you find that you are the Father, the kingdom will be given to you in abundance. It is the promise. The law and the promise, again, that Neville Goddard talks about. I would recommend that you all turn your eyes away from the shadow world. Be aware of it, but turn away from it. Do not give your energy to it. Whatever you give your attention to will have your mind tense. There will be attention on your mind. But if you look within and you find the purpose of this experience, it's like looking down at that board game from a higher perspective. You haven't got to go through the ordeal of climbing ladders, slipping down snaking paths. You can get to square 100 from square one far easier than that. So this whole creation of this video came, again, another analogy that Neville Goddard gives, where he talks about a lady who sneezes into a handkerchief and it absorbs all the moisture. So she pulls out a second handkerchief, a clean, dry one, and a marble falls into it. And as Neville says, you can all repeat scripture parrot fashion, but if you do not absorb it and feel it and see it and read it in the right way, which is human psyche, which is your autobiography, which is the purpose of life, the fulfillment of scripture, when you know that you are God. You're all God. You're all my brothers and sisters in infinite and individual forms. And just like cells, the appearances and things seem to vary, and yet you can look at people and you can see that they resemble an ancestor, and you see people that look very similar to other people because we are all from one. So whatever this shadow world, the world of Caesar, shows you, this is where you need to find your core age, see our age. When we take back our power, when we stand in our power, and we just say no to the world of Caesar. It is only then that we can co-create and bring heaven upon earth. That is the real flattening of the curve, bringing heaven to earth. But you can also see it, it's all relative. We are raising earth to heaven. There's always two ways of seeing things. But if you're just looking in this shadow world, you're not going to see it. Only you can find it. We can only guide those of us that are playing the part of, maybe, shall we say, Enoch. Because you can play any part you want in this world stage. That choice is always yours. Ta-ta for now.